Hello my beautiful friends and welcome to Tailor Made Beauty by Kris. Today's video I shot over 6 days and tested 11 primers. I am 50, about to turn 51, and I have normal to dry skin, but in the summertime it runs more normal and may even tend to be a little oily in patches. I tried really hard to make this as even and fair and scientific as I could. So every day it was the same skincare routine. Also, it was the same foundation all 6 days, which is the L'Oreal Infallible up to 24-hour wear in shade 430. Every day I would set with Lancome's Long Time No Shine, and then finish with It Bye Bye Pores Pressed Powder. I also applied my foundation with the same super sponge every day. So I did my best that the only variable was the foundation. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much. If you are one of the many viewers who are not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I think it just appeared down there somewhere. I'd love to have you join our family. Let's get on with the testing. Today, I'll be leaving half of my face unprimed, and on the other half, be using the Tatcha Silk Primer. This is the mini size, which sells for $22 at Sephora, and you get 0.24 ounces. The full size is $52 and you get 0.7 ounces. This is a putty primer, and well, it's got some hydration to it, but really it's much more going to be filling in pores and smoothing out lines. So like I said, I'm gonna do my best to apply it to my right side. And it goes on nicely. It is lightly scented. If you are very sensitive to scents, you might not react well to it. But it does go on so smoothly. Okay, and I just kind of like to press it in where I have a little more texture, my pores, lines. And of course, my chin. I touch my chin all throughout the day. I'm really trying not to do that because it really isn't good for foundation on my chin. All right. I'm going to go do my makeup and I'll check back in with you and show you how the two sides look non-primer compared to the Tatcha. Now I have my makeup applied and I am noticing that on my non-primed side I'm getting lines here. On the primed side I'm getting line emphasis here. Oh great. Cats, knock it off. Can you hear them going at it? But I am definitely noticing on the primed side that my pores look minimized, my lines look blurred, and I'm going to do my best to check in at 8 hours every day to kind of make this a really fair comparison. So now let me zoom in. So here we are really, really close, and I'm hoping you can see the difference in the lines at the corners of my mouth, also the marionette lines, and overall the appearance of the pores on both sides of my face. Well, here it is 8 hours after I applied my makeup this morning, and it's no surprise that the Tatcha side is outperforming the no primer side. When I look, I can see a lot more texture, and the makeup on the no primer side just doesn't look good. pores are a little more blurred and lines are a little more blurred on the Tatcha side. Neither side was great around the lines on my mouth or in the marionette lines. I'm going to do this scary close-up thing again. So there is the tight close-up. Maybe you can see the difference. Sometimes it's really hard to see that. So that's it for today. Today we're doing the battle of a prestige brand and a drugstore brand. On this side I have from Dr. Brandt the Pores No More. This claims that it will minimize the look of pores and absorb oil and mattify shine. And this formula is a very thick paste. You can see it doesn't run. It comes out in the shape of the tube, and when I rub it in, you know, it's almost has the texture of like a sunscreen. It's so thick. But it does have some smoothness to it. And then I have the Catrice Prime and Fine. And this also says it mattifies optically. That means you're looking at it. That's kind of weird. Pore refining, anti-shine base. Silky matte finish, long-lasting, oil-free. And this is more of a thick liquid. So you can see it comes out liquidy, but it doesn't run. And it rubs in nicely. So what I'm noticing now that I have my makeup on over these, I feel like the Dr. Brandt on this side is doing a better job of minimizing pores. Now I will tell you that I had to stare in the mirror and go back and forth for about 5 minutes in a 10x mirror to really tell the difference. And I've realized from looking at what I shot yesterday that it doesn't matter if I zoom in really close. The camera just doesn't pick it up. I am going to say though that I feel like for lines and wrinkles that the Catrice does a better job on blurring those and moving with those and not accentuating those. So I'm really curious to see at the end of the day in 8 hours how these each have performed. This is my 8-hour check-in, and from a distance the Pores No More by Dr. Brandt seems to be outperforming the Catrice Prime and Fine. Pores look more pronounced on the Catrice side. They're slightly smaller on the Dr. Brandt side. But both of them are caking in lines, causing makeup to collect. And if I go in close, like I looked in the 10x mirror, it is not pretty. And I'm gonna try again to let you guys see. Okay, so you are incredibly close up now. And can you see it in the lines there, underneath my nose, up here, in my 11s. This is the Catrice side, the Dr. Brandt side. So if I had to pick between these two, it would be Dr. Brandt, but I don't know if the price delta would be worth it. Both of these are 1 ounce. The Catrice is $6.79. The Dr. Brandt is $45. The performance isn't a huge difference. Actually, neither one of them clearly are my holy grail. Today, I shopped my stash and came up with 2 products that were brand new, never been opened. The first one is the MAC Prep and Prime. This is $33 for 1 ounce. I have that on this side of my face. And I know that is a holy grail for a lot of people I've seen on YouTube. And the other is Tarte's Base Tape, which says that it is a hydrating primer. This is also 1 ounce and retails for $30. So really pretty comparable. The MAC is a little thicker. Let me see if I can get it to come out. There we go. So it's like a lotion. You can see it doesn't really run, but it does smooth on nicely. It feels good. And the Tarte paste tape is a much, it's a thinner, while it's still not running, it is thinner consistency than the MAC, and it works in quite nicely. When I look in a 10x mirror and really close, they both are outperforming anything else that I've used so far in terms of minimizing the appearance of pores and blurring lines. I am discovering that whatever primer gets put on this side, because this line is a little bit deeper than this line, is at a little bit of a disadvantage. I think just the way my face is, it likes to collect in there. So I'm going to stop beating up on the primers for that. But I really like how everything looks. I think perhaps right now the Tarte might be doing a little bit better job on the lines on my forehead. But I will be curious at the end of the day when I check back in with you to see how these have performed. Hey everyone, so this was supposed to be an 8-hour check-in, but we ended up going out with some friends on a boat on a lake. Hey Kira, hey Tori, thanks for a great time. So it's really more like a 13-hour check-in. I'm going to say that both of these have outperformed their predecessors, but if I look, they're both doing a great job on minimizing pores, but the base tape from Tarte is outperforming MAC Prep and Prime for kind of the deeper wrinkles I've got. They're still doing a good, the Tarte is still doing a good job of keeping those from, you know, getting foundation collecting in them versus the MAC Prep and Prime. But both have done a really nice job of keeping my makeup on and making it last longer. So in this case, it's Tarte by a nose. Today, on my right side, I have Maybelline's Master Blur Stick in color 100 Universal Transparent. This is a stick primer. It's 0.3 ounces for $9.99, and it goes on. It's a pretty soft stick, so it doesn't drag on the skin, and then just rubs in. And on this side, I have Too Faced's Hangover RX primer. And this primer is silicone free. If you've ever put on a primer and then a foundation and it's pilled, it's usually because one has silicone and the other one doesn't. This is 1 ounce that you can get, you get for, oh shoot, now I can't remember if it was $30 or $33. Anyway, and it pumps out in a liquid, and you can see that it's a little runny, and it blends in nicely. All right, I gotta say that the foundation went on equally well. So even though this doesn't have silicone in it, it seemed to go over this L'Oreal Infallible up to 24-hour wear, no problem. Both of these from a distance look fantastic. They both minimize pores. When I get really close in the 10x mirror, I'm gonna say that the Master Blur Stick is doing a little bit better job on hiding or camouflaging pores than the Too Faced, but not significantly. So we'll see how these wear today. Well, I am more than a little surprised. This Master Blur Stick from Maybelline really has outperformed the Too Faced Hangover Primer. And I'm going to try to zoom you in, even though this hasn't worked great in the past. I do want you to see the Too Faced side. You can maybe see how it's broken up. And if I go down to my forehead, get it to focus, how it just looks like, oh, come on, focus. It doesn't want to focus. Maybe I'll back out a little bit. Okay, it's not having fun. Anyway, the foundation just is sitting on the top of my skin. Looks kind of patchy, so yeah, the Too Faced, no good. Kind of pleasantly surprised by the Maybelline Master Blur Stick. The two primers that I'm using today are the e.l.f. Poreless Primer. That's 1 ounce for $10. That's on this side of my face. And then the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. And this, you may know, is a holy grail for a lot of people. And this one is oil-free, and if you look really closely at the teeny tiny print on the bottom, it says it has an SPF of 15. The e.l.f., both of them are pump, and this is a thicker liquid, doesn't run, but it is like a lotion, and has a definite slip. You can feel the silicone in it, which gives it slip, which helps it fill in pores and lines. And I do notice more of that slipping than I had in some other ones. The Hourglass Mineral Veil, it looks like I have a lot left in there, but there's not enough for the pump to pick it up, but there's too much to throw it out, so I am left with when I want to use it digging around in there with this. So it's really thick, but that is a little suboptimal. And this goes on, not as much slip as the e.l.f., but feels more like a thick lotion. No grease to it, but just that moisturizing feeling. And when I look in the 10X mirror, what I notice is neither one of them are doing a great job on the wrinkles on my forehead. That Maybelline Master Blur Stick did better on that. Both of them are doing a really good job on the pores around my nose, which is of course what they both claim. And I will say that I think the e.l.f. is doing a little bit better job. And but they both make the makeup look really nice. Oh, I don't think I mentioned the veil. The Hourglass Mineral Veil is $54 for 1 ounce. So 10x more, or this is 10, this is 54. 5 times more expensive than the e.l.f. So again, we'll see how they wear after 8 hours. And here we are for the 8-hour check-in on the e.l.f. versus the Mineral Veil. And looking closely in the mirror, I can see that the Hourglass Veil has done a little bit better job on keeping the pores minimized than the e.l.f. Can I justify 54 versus 10? Probably not. But I gotta say, in comparison to the primers that I've been using, you know, I haven't really had an issue with staying power of the foundation, which is one of the reasons we wear primer, is to give a little more longevity to our makeup. And I want to say that both of these kind of didn't perform so well. I didn't really notice it until today, but when I look at my forehead, I look at my chin, I feel like the foundation is more worn off than it has been with the primers in the past. Also, one thing I've been noticing as I look, remember day one, which for me was a few days ago, for you was a few minutes ago, when I did the Tatcha and the no primer, I had a problem with it collecting in the corners of my mouth. I really haven't had that problem today, or maybe even the last day yesterday with the blur stick and, wow, menopause. Whatever else I used yesterday. So sorry. Anyway, they still, from a distance, still looks really nice. To me, looks like pretty fresh makeup from a distance. There you go. Today on my right side, I have the Glossy Moisturizing Primer. And it says that this is a buildable primer. And let me show you here. It is very much like a lotion. You can see it's a little runny, not super runny, but a little runny. And yes, it's thinner and it definitely feels more like moisture than a primer. This is 1.7 ounces for $22. So for the not drugstore brands, that's actually a really good deal. On my left side of my face today, I have the Smashbox Pore Minimizer Photo Finish primer today. And this is more of a thick paste, kind of like the Dr. Brandt. Who else was a thick paste? I'm not remembering right now. All right, and so it goes on, and that just feels more like a primer. There's the slip from the silicone in there. Okay. And what I find when I look really close up is, yes, they are both doing a lovely job on minimizing my pores. Neither of them have collected on the corners of my mouth, but I'm gonna say that the Glossier is doing a better job of minimizing the fine lines on my forehead than the Smashbox. So again, we'll give them 8 hours and see what it looks like then. Well, this has ended up being more of an 11 or 12-hour check-in. It's just how my day went. What I can say is that the Glossier side has not held up well. My pores are showing, lines look worse, and perhaps the biggest transgression is that my foundation is breaking up and looking really splotchy, which is no good. On the other hand, the Smashbox Photo Finish Minimize Pores has held up really well. While it was not doing great this morning, it didn't get any worse. My foundation stayed on. The pores look the same as they did this morning, which is to say they are not really exaggerated, just not as well camouflaged as some of the things were at the beginning of the day. So this was kind of a pleasant surprise, and this was a bit of a letdown. Now I can say it's summer, my skin isn't as dry as it is in the winter, so maybe this would be better in the winter, but that is neither here nor there. Right now, we have tested 11 primers. And the 3 that stood out for me, I'm going to say were all surprises. The ones that I have enjoyed are the Tarte Base Tape, the Maybelline Master Blur Stick, and today's Smashbox Photo Finish Pore Minimizer. I'm curious, do you have a Holy Grail primer? Leave it down below. Thank you so much for joining me. I post every Monday and Thursday. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already, and ring the bell. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day.